Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your 2025 AstroTarot scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. You know Rafi loves you, and I just want to say, if you are a continued subby, you know that Rafi loves you. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose, and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. All right, so I'm gonna take these and give them a shuffle. I'm gonna start here. And the first transit, so again, a quick note, whenever I'm talking about astrology, I'm always using tropical whole sign Western Astrology, for those of you that would like to know. And also, whenever, if ever I forget to give you the dates or the degrees or anything like that, you will always find that stuff in the description of the video. All right, so check that out. That's a jumping card. So that will be the first one for your lunations. Now, as we start the month on the February the 7th, we're going to have Mars come into an exact trine with Saturn. Mars trine Saturn is probably one of my favorite transits, just especially in the water signs. And there's a reason for this, because it gives incredible emotional stability and incredible emotional fortitude. Now, for you, this is happening across your 4th house of home, family, property, real estate, and also your 8th house of your psychic vision. It's also, the 8th house is a deep one, right? Yes, it's shared resources and other people's money and all of that kind of stuff, but it is a very psychic space within the chart. And to have Mars retrograde there, this could have seen you really clearing up your internal world, and maybe even like old fears, old wounds, old traumas, old challenges from the past that emotionally trigger you. And it's like the work that you're doing at the moment is helping you really rid yourself and release yourself of that. You might be going through some form of a metamorphosis or a transformation at the moment. You might be really being true to yourself for a change, right? From an emotional perspective and an emotional stance. And that might be creating a whole, greater sense of personal strength at this moment in time. And because this transit, when they come into a conjunction, a trine, Mars is action, energy, passion, excitation, war, challenge, conflict, crisis even, right? Very Martian, very 8th house stuff actually. And Saturn is the rules, the regulation, but it's discipline, it's determination, it's the ability to see something through to its completion. And so for you, Saggy, this literally means that you are tapping into your deep emotions and your deep spiritual self, and you're finding a way to bring those two things together. Mars retrograde in Cancer might have been, I love this because it's just a really supportive energy. So this could also have been helping you resolve or release any childhood wounds or traumas around family, financial matters around family as well, right? Emotional entanglements, issues of trust or anything like that. It really might have as well prompted sort of some of the deeper realizations about what, or potentially who, you really need to release in order to feel emotionally secure. The trine to Saturn provides a really grounding energy that's helping you build that emotional security, strengthen your foundations, right? Whether this does take on board some kind of healing dynamic within your family structure, or maybe even a restructuring of your financial obligations, potentially even letting go of old patterns and habits around money, especially where joint finances are considered. If you are going for a mortgage or you've got considerations around home and property, etc. at this time, this trine could actually prove really nice because it provides the emotional stability for you to move through whatever potential challenges or pitfalls there are on a really practical sort of level. At this time, I would say it's probably time for you to start thinking about transforming your challenges into opportunities, or taking things to a next level of growth and stability. Now, for this, you've got the 5 of Swords. Be prepared to fight for it, though, with the 7 of Cups. And so one of the things that you might have to fight is this shiny object syndrome. What is it that's really important? What are the high value actions or considerations that are actually going to get you to where you need to be? You've got this with the Nine of Wands as well. The Nine of Wands is going to show up as your personal wounds, history, PTSD, any of that stuff that's been knocking around or lurking in the background. Mars has really been helping you get to grips with and release or remove that. Now, in that trine to Saturn in the 4th house, that's giving you an emotionally grounded stability that really helps you look at all of this and say, right, this stuff that I do, or, you know, this stuff that I'm trying to do, or whatever, or my ability, you know, my decision to take on too much, etc., it's a trauma response, and I'm going to get rid of that. Why? How? By getting to the heart of what my traumas are, by being really honest with myself about what my hang-ups are. And at this age, right, most of my demographic is like anywhere from 25 to 55 is the bulk of my audience. And I will say, by the time you get to 30, 35, you've got stuff, right, that needs to be knocked about and worked over and through and all the rest of it. And if you're doing that work, as I suspect a lot of you are doing at this moment in time, you could be getting some incredible results for this on, as I say, on an emotional level, absolutely, on a psyche level, 100%, but also potentially on a practical level as well. Now, on the between the 9th and the 10th, Mercury is going to go Cazimi, so it's going to come into a conjunction with the Sun in your 3rd house. I love Mercury Cazimi. It's one of my favorite transits as well. Mars, I have to say, Mars trine Saturn is probably one of my all-time favorites because it gives you that emotional fortitude. But I really love the Mercury Cazimi as well because I call this inspired, divine inspiration, right? Now, the Sun for you rules your 9th house of vision, of prophecy. It also rules your belief system. It also rules how you tap into and lean on that spirituality. And because it's the Sun represents eternity. It represents the consistency of the soul, right? It also represents inspiration and divinity and illumination in general. And in the 3rd house of your mind, your communications, this with Mercury, the planet of communication, which rules your 7th house and also your career, this could be a time where some of the insights that you're gaining, some of the conversations that you're having right now could literally be life-changing for you, right? And I don't say that lightly because Mercury Cazimi is not like it doesn't happen often. But the fact that this one's taking place after we've had the first Pluto Cazimi just feels like it's more significant somehow, right? I feel like this could be a really fantastic idea that you have or conversation that you have with somebody on that ground level that really opens things up, could spark a brilliant idea, you know, especially so. 3rd house is siblings, neighbors, cousins. It's your local shop, you know, where you go and buy your bread and your milk and all of that kind of stuff. 3rd house is, you know, your very much your local environment, and it also represents your mind and your skill set. You could have really incredible ideas. It might inspire you to consider creating a work from home setup. That might, you know, help you bring in or integrate your skills or your communications or your ability to communicate, should I say, in a more flexible sort of daily structure. It might help you focus on some of your long-term growth as well, especially because remember Mercury rules your career. So this might see you kind of thinking, okay, how does this really feed into how I'm going to build myself up? Conversations, sudden flashes of insight, advice from others could really help provide a framework for you making some kind of shift. It's going to highlight a connection between, you know, some of your smaller sort of day-to-day things and also potentially the bigger picture for you, which is what you're all about. So for this, you've got the 10 of Pentacles. Love that. So it's probably going to be in and around your home or your home area that you're likely to be having these conversations. You've got this with the Ace of Wands. So you're having what looks like a potentially very good idea that has a long-term financial sort of slant or leaning to it. And then you've got the 3 of Swords, right? 3 of Swords is usually a separation that hurts the heart. there's a feeling of whatever this idea is that comes in. It could be one of those moments where it's like, yes, this is great, but it's not great for right now. It could also be that you say to yourself, right, in order to do this, I'm going to have to trade something off. It might be my time, it could be my resources, it could be a current project that I've put a lot of time and effort into, but this idea is so good and so potentially lucrative that it's worth considering doing away with something in order to make it a reality. So, you know, this might also throw up a really sort of, not tough, well, yeah, it might throw up a bit of a tough decision, right? Because it's like, okay, well, this is such a good opportunity or decision to sort of undertake. You know, what do I do? What is the way forward here? Now, on the 14th, on Valentine's Day, Mercury is going to enter Pisces. It's going to come into your 4th house. So this, you know, Mercury in Pisces is a lot more sensual, intuitive, imaginative. Mercury in Pisces is not as clear on the details, and the fact that it's coming into your emotional sector could see your emotional foundations sort of being, maybe you're focusing more on them. You know, there's definitely more of a focus on the 4th house matters, home, property, family, real estate, who you live with, where you live, you know, as in your specific dwelling. There's a lot of focus there at this moment in time. Conversations with family members might be really engaging or, you know, really heartfelt at this moment in time. I will say communication will probably be less clear or direct, so that's something to consider. Express your thoughts and your feelings with, you know, compassion and love and care. Right, this is a time to be a bit more gentle, actually, even though it's Mercury, and Mercury is by no means gentle. All right, so this transit might also inspire creative ideas, helping you improve your living situation or the space that you inhabit. It might see you really wanting to talk about your feelings, even if you're not that kind of person. This might be a time where you start thinking, you know what, actually, I want to express myself more, or this is going on inside me and I really need to share it with somebody. Just watch out for sort of unrealistic expectations with things at this time. All right, so for this you've got the God of Cups, so listen to your intuition at this time because it will be on fire. You've got this with the Hanged Man. Very interesting. So a Pisces person may very well feature for you during this transit, or at least a water sign person whose intuition is very keen. And then you've got this with the Sun card. Now, because you've got the Sun card here, even though the astrology is the astrology and we can't change it, it does suggest that even if there are things that have been unclear or a little bit sort of, you know, muddy water kind of energy, that Sun card brings illumination. So either something that you haven't been privy to behind the scenes is illuminated to you, or there is a pathway that opens for you to bring clarity in a situation when it comes to a home and or family and or property matter. So it's kind of like, you know, the cards are saying, yes, this is the astrology and no, we can't change that. However, there is going to be a saving grace energy that comes in here that provides a supportive, you know, a supportive illumination for you. What I really like about this as well is there's a really strong sense of forgiveness here. So if you've had a little bit of weirdness with somebody in the past, you know, this could be a friend or a family member, maybe somebody that you know haven't spoken to for a long time, whatever the case might be, this might actually go a very long way to illuminating where you were both coming from to the other and helping you mend a rift of some sort. So love that, right? If you've got long lost family, this is the time to reach out. And then your final transits is going to be where Venus will be at 10 degrees. She's going to sextile Jupiter. So this is happening across your 5th house and your 7th house. If you're single, good times are ahead of you. If you're partnered, sexy times are ahead of you, right? And as if that wasn't enough, at the same time, Mars is then going to trine Mercury from the 4th to the 8th. So there are, and remember the 5th house is your personal projects and business. Fifth house is your joy, creativity, love, self-expression. It's not so much the marriage, right? In order to get married and be a committed partnership, seventh house, you got to do the fifth house. You got to date, you got to go out, you got to schmooze, you got to kiss, you got to grab somebody down an alleyway and smooch their bloody face off. That's what I always say to all of my clients, and I'm sure they're like, oh, Raf, okay, a little bit too much insight into your personal history there. But look, right, it's the two benefics in a really lovely sextile, in a tight sextile as well, and at the same time you've got Mars creating action from the 8th house to transform something in a trine to Mercury, so you're able to communicate exactly how you feel. Venus in Aries is slowing down to go retrograde, right, but she's in that creativity, the romance, the joy, and performing that 7th house sextile to Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. It's going to enhance your charm, your creativity, your ability to attract either supportive or fulfilling relationships. It's going to help you bring maybe helpful people into your life. If you're single, this could be you meeting somebody who ends up being something very special to you. It could also be a really amazing time for you to connect with others or do shared sort of endeavors on creating something wonderful or beautiful, maybe even finding a way to express your passions. Mars in Cancer in that trine to Mercury is creating a really nice flow between your emotional depth and your home life, but it's also a really good time to look at any financial considerations that you have, things like mortgages, loans, big loans, taxes, debts, all of that kind of stuff. You might be able to find a really wonderful or creative or cohesive way out of those things at this time. You might even find yourself like being pulled towards deeper or more meaningful conversations with people that lead to, a sense of, like healing and transformation. It might also create more need for creativity and relationships that allow emotional stability. And this isn't always just about a significant other. If you're single, this is going to be great. If you're partnered, this is also going to be great. But this could also be about business partnerships. It could also be about friendship ties. There's a few ways it could show up. With this, you've got the 9 of Cups, beautiful, so wishes fulfilled. With the Page of Cups, wishes fulfilled where your heart sings, right? And the Page is bringing you the extra one to make it the 10. And then you've got the 8 of Cups. So the 8 of Cups too, it can be about walking away. Excuse me. But what I like most about this, because of the cards that precede it, it's like you're able, and I don't know about any of you, but I get really precious about the things that I create, right? I hate it when people steal my ideas. I'm really precious about that because I work hard at what I do. However, the older I get, the more I understand. Once you put it out into the world, it doesn't belong to you anymore. And so whatever creative ideas or endeavors, etc. you're creating, this might be a time where you're launching it out into the world and saying, right, okay, this is a moment where I can literally put this into the world and, I got to let it go, right? I can let it go with an open heart. Why? Because it's going to bring untold joy to everyone, including you. I love this anyway. I think the 23rd of February with those double transits just before, like literally, because Mars goes direct on the 24th of Feb, it's going to be a big moment. On the 12th of the month, we have the full moon in Leo. Now for you, this is in your 9th house. This is a house that you very much have a lot in common with. It's really about expansion and travel and adventure. It's going to bring a culmination or a peak energy or potentially even a breakthrough. And the reason I say that is because this moon, Sun and the moon at the time of a full moon, always opposing each other, but it's all in a T-square to Uranus in Taurus in your 6th house. So your day-to-day routines and how they are pulling on you, or the tension that you kind of feel between what you want for yourself and what you have to do on a daily level where you have to really show up. Unexpected events at work or in your daily sort of routine, in your daily grind, like maybe you've got lots of really good habits and routines that you've got, and this could come along and just completely disrupt them. I feel like this may be because there's an opportunity in it for you. So just something to consider. Now, for, wrong deck, Raf. For this, you've got the gate 33 and remembrance. So this is a remembrance gate, but it is looking back. This might be a moment where a really powerful memory resurfaces, or you're reminded of an experience or a trip or excuse me, a journey of some sort that you took, and it might be a really empowering, but also like deeply spiritual. And remember, the 9th house is the spiritual sector. This is the house of your beliefs, right? So what you believe, what your belief structure is or isn't, what your religion is or isn't. So it could be a really wonderful time. It's helping you sort of alleviate any limiting beliefs in your life, or maybe uncover any fears that are holding you back from really pursuing what your personal dreams are. 9th house is also publishing. This might be a time where there's something that you really feel like, yes, I'm ready to launch this out into the world in some regard. Whatever changes are unfolding or taking place for you at this time, they really are helping you almost like align with a greater sense of your own purpose in some regard, even if it feels like at the time you're like, okay, what the hell, right? This is all a bit much. Now, on the 28th of February, we have the new moon in the sign of Pisces, in that 4th house of home, property, family, real estate, and you've got the gate 3 and begin. And the message behind this card is to say that whatever has a difficult beginning will usually end up having a beautiful lifescape. It can also be a reminder that sometimes when we start something, it will be a challenge, and it's not always a message from the universe to say, oh, this isn't for you. Sometimes it's just to see if you're really going to show up for this thing that you're intending to do. So set in intentions around your emotional outlook, looking for emotional security and stability, maybe even setting intentions around a new living situation or a move of some sort could be coming up for you at this time. I also want to mention, remember, now we are, so as we're in February, we'll be, my doors are open, so you'll be hearing from me on all of my socials about my tarot course. If you would like to study for me with me for 12 weeks, you get weekly classes, you get more PDFs than you can shake a stick at, you're going to get live client practice, live client demos. I give you everything that you need to go from beginner level to intermediate, right? Really, how far you can go with this course is really down to the amount of time and effort that you put into it. And I can say on the last round of students that I had for this course, who were incredible, by the way, I had, not the last round, the one before that, I had a guy who literally had only ever read books. We had him literally reading spreads, answering questions by the time he'd finished, and he was an absolute boss. I was really, really proud of him. All right, so if you're interested, stay tuned, because you're going to be hearing it. You'll see it on all of my socials. You'll see it on the YouTube community tab and all of that good stuff. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a great month. Take care. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you soon.